I'm Julia Brothers. I'm an actor in New York City, and I just had a great interview with Keith Andrew on the Keith Andrew Network. So tune in. He's a fabulous, fabulous host, and we talked about some pretty interesting stuff. I hope that you tune in. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with Julia Brothers. It's a real honor to have you back on the show, not for once, but for 3 times. You're a big supporter of mine, and I'm happy to have you back here again.
Thank you. It's so nice to be back, and it's so great to see you.
No, likewise. Recently, you told me recently you were fighting over COVID. Now, first off, God bless everybody. You're doing well. It's great to see you again.
Yeah.
And for people who want to see our other 2 episodes, you are actually on episode 268. That's when we did a double interview. And then we did a follow-up on 586. I think 500 was only like a year ago or something. But either way, doesn't really make a difference. Great to have you here. Like I said, great to catch up as an old friend.
Yeah.
And now for people who want to know who you are a professional actress who lives in New York City. And I just pass it over to you. How have you been?
I've been good. I was working outside of New York for a while. I did a couple of shows in San Francisco, came back to New York, and did this play in January and February down on the Lower East Side about Mormons, and it was pretty fun. And I was rehearsing a play that was so interesting where I play Arthur Miller. And just a little background on it. In 1982, Arthur Miller, who wrote Death of a Salesman and many iconic American plays, was invited to the People's Republic Theater in Beijing to direct an all Chinese in Mandarin production of Death of a Salesman. And he went, and it was a huge cultural event. And this man, who is a playwright and also a translator, wrote a play for 6 women based on that event for an all-female cast, and so I played Arthur Miller. And we were in rehearsals for that, and that was going to run here in New York, and we were all really excited about it. And then COVID hit, and so it has been postponed indefinitely, I guess. They just said yesterday that Broadway's not going to be back through the end of the year. I've talked to people who say it's probably not going to be back until maybe next spring or next summer. So everybody's got a lot of time on their hands.
No, absolutely. And hey, now's the time to do whatever you want, hobbies, write a book, or make films online. Everything right now will be online based. So now's the time to strike.
Yeah, that's true. Well, see, and you're ahead of all of us because you've been doing this for a long time.
No, absolutely. 7.5 years.
Wow, that's so great. Congratulations. That's amazing.
No, I appreciate that. Hopefully when we do the 4th one, we will be in person. And hopefully once this COVID disappears, we can actually get lunch or something.
Yeah. I love your backdrop. It's great.
No, absolutely. Thank you. It's funny because the last 2 times we did this, I had to decorate my brother's bed and put stuff on there. Now with Zoom, I can hide all that and actually looks professional.
Yeah. No, well, it looked good before too.
Now, the next question I want to ask is, have you ever been a brand ambassador, and would you be willing to be one?
Have I ever been what?
A brand ambassador.
A brand ambassador?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't even know what that is.
All right. Well, I'm looking for people to work with, but I would like you to be one of them. A brand ambassador is where you pretty much represent a brand, and you just spread awareness. And if you're interested, I would love to work with you.
Oh, well, sure. About Keith Andrew Network?
Yes. Now, I can't pay people, but what I usually do with people, say, okay, here's a message once a month. You work at your own pace, your own schedule. and I just asked you to make videos. And for an example, well, I tell you the details, but for an example, you would just use my banner. You say, I was just on KeithAndrewNetwork. You said, just write a heartfelt message. Say, I'm talking to you, my fans, why you should call Keith, and what you get in return, because I can't pay you, is I'm giving you permission to use my brand, use me for a recommendation, use me for a reference. If you need to talk to people, I can point you in the right directions. So that's my way of making up that, say, hey, I can't pay you, but I can give you other things in return. So it's a quick quote.
Yeah, networking, that's what it's all about, right?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
So how's your acting been going?
It's been going well. I've been actually since theater. I mean, I was scheduled. I had jobs scheduled up through next year, and they all got canceled. But I have been doing a lot of work with playwrights on Zoom. Just around the table working on new pieces. I've done play readings. I'm writing a lot. Everybody's writing a lot, right? That's kind of the thing. But I'm a little bit behind everybody because right when everything started to close down in mid-March, that was when I got sick early. I got really sick like March 9th, I started to feel poorly, but I got really sick March 16th. And I was sick for about 5 weeks. And then I didn't have to go to the hospital or anything, which is, I'm so lucky because unfortunately during that time, 4 friends of mine died from COVID. So, New York City was very, very hard hit. But I stayed in my apartment and had food delivered, and I had really wonderful friends who were very supportive and would text me, and I would text them, and they would leave food hanging in a bag on my door. So it's taken me a little bit longer to kind of do all the things that everybody else did in March. Like I just went through all my clothes and cleaned out my closets, and but it's really been such a great time to be able to be quiet and slow down and really turn in and look and see, who am I? What am I doing? How can I support other people in this world? What's my mission in life? All that like really important stuff that we forget about when we're on our phone, 18 hours a day and texting and this and that. And, there's so many diversions. So when everything stopped, and then for me, when everything stopped and I was so sick, I couldn't do anything except lie around. I mean, I couldn't even really watch television. So it was a real opportunity. I want to look at it as it was an opportunity for me to get quiet and really think about life and what is important and what I want to do with my time here on this earth, Things that I guess way back when we used to do on Sundays, Back when I was really little, there were blue laws. Nothing was open. Everything was closed on Sundays. And there was nothing to do. I mean, and as a little kid, it was fun because we got to play all day long. But, those kind of long stretches of having nothing to do are very rare. Well, they were very rare. Now they're every day. Now they're very commonplace. But I think it was a great opportunity.
In some places, actually, it's funny to mention that. There is some places where they are closed on a Sunday. Or at least they close early on Sunday.
Yeah. Well, that's good, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I say that, but I live in Midtown Manhattan, so I'm used to being able to get anything, any time of the day, 24/7. So, which is pretty nice to be able to have at your fingertips.
No, absolutely. I didn't mean to interrupt. I do apologize.
No. That was it. I think that was pretty much, that was the sum total of it.
When my brother went to Potsdam, they used to close on Sundays. Everything was, was never open. And so I think it's more like an upstate thing. It's like they're closed on certain days. And I know where I live near like West Point, Woodbury Commons, some stores actually close about 6, 7 o'clock at night. I'm like, oh, that's fine. But there's other ones that are open until like 1, 2 in the morning. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
But oh, go ahead.
So I was going to say that one of the nice things about what's happening these days is that there's so much stuff that's being streamed. I mean, you can watch opera, you can watch Greek tragedy, you can watch plays, and tomorrow, is it tonight or tomorrow night? Disney Plus, Hamilton the movie. I mean, I know a lot of people that are really excited about that. I'm really excited about it. Not so excited that I got Disney Plus because I don't even have cable, so I can't actually get Disney Plus. But hopefully I'll be able to sneak in on somebody else's account and be able to watch it.
It's funny you mentioned Disney Plus. I actually recently rewatched The Jungle Book, 1967. And the more about it when I watch, the more racist stuff I kind of pick up from it. And I didn't really acknowledge like how Baloo was wearing a thing on the face. And I'm like, oh, it's funny. But I'm like, you want to be able to do that today? Or, but there's like other things. But I recently was watching it because we actually started to watch Doom Patrol. And that's what me and my sister do. We watch stuff that pass the time, a whole bonding time. But when I'm waiting for her to come downstairs, I'm like, well, I need something to pass the time. Why not watch one of my favorite Disney movies? That's like, I really didn't think Jungle Book was like a musical. But every time they do something, they break out to the songs. Like, well, it is 1967. And yes, the Beatles were in it. Well, one of them anyway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, those are, I loved those songs. But you're right. You're absolutely right. Disney was a racist. So, I mean, there is no other way to say it. That's what he was. And looking back on things today that, yeah, you just think, wow, how was that ever okay? But at some point in the world it was, and I'm so glad that it isn't anymore.
Different time, different place.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
But we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to ask you about social media, and then I'm going to pass the show over to you.
Hi, I'm Paisley Blackburn.
I'm Ashley Burgess.
Hi, my name is Jeanette Abney.
Hi, I'm Sharon Spank.
Hey, this is Samantha Moore.
Hi, I'm Melody Jones.
Hi, my name is Becky Yee.
Hi, you're watching the Keith Andrew Network.
Ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm here with Julia Brothers. It's a real honor and privilege having you on the show again. Now, before we talk to commercial break, I want to talk to you about social media, but I also want to talk to you about disabilities as well. But the first question I want to ask you is social media. Can it make you or break you? And the one thing I do want to talk about is you mentioned there's no Broadway whatsoever, but yet people are now putting live performances on the internet. Mm-hmm. And I want to know, have you ever thought about, because you are a writer, have you ever thought about writing something like that and putting it on the internet?
I think that I'm in the midst of writing something. It may wind up on the internet. I mean, it's a one character play that could be, I guess, on the internet. It's in its very early stages. So, but when I originally started writing it, which was at the beginning of this year before COVID, it was for the stage. So I'm not exactly sure where that is going, but to me, it's very interesting to see what works, on video, like what works on Zoom and what doesn't, because there's a lot that really doesn't work. And the things that do work are pretty wonderful. I think that, social media is, the power of social media is amazing. And I had posted back on March 20th, I tested positive for the coronavirus, and I made it public because it was so early on. And then I listed everything that had happened to me and all of my, symptoms and all of that stuff. And it got shared 22,000 shares, and I got something like 12,000 comments from people all over the world. A woman in England saying, I have asthma. I'm afraid to go outside. I'm afraid I'm going to die. What should I do? Nobody knew anything back then, for very little, thanks to our government not, preparing us for this. But it was extraordinary. It was absolutely extraordinary that one Facebook post, just everyone was so desperate for any kind of information. And so it can be such a tool. It can be such an incredible tool and a helpful and useful one. I'm glad that they are at least partially now on Facebook fact-checking some things, because, the election's coming up and the country is already divided enough. We don't need more divisive stuff with Facebook. But as far as artistic tools, I think that it's amazing. I mean, there's just so much potential, and you can kind of do anything. It's almost like, little movies, like, plays. You can't just have anything happen because it's actually live and it's in a theater. And in a movie, somebody can be walking down the street and go, and all of a sudden be swinging from a star because it's a movie and you can do that. And disabilities, you were talking about working with people with disabilities. I'm so happy to be friends with you and be able to do the show with you every now and again. And I have a friend, Christine Bruno, she is an equity actor, and she is also on the Equity Council, and she represents artists with disabilities. And she is a pro-rights activist for people with disabilities, and she's out there on the front lines all the time. Very talented actor as well. And I'm very proud of her, very, very proud of her and her work. And we've never actually worked on stage together. We have done readings together, but hopefully that will change, that we're actually in like a project.
Oh, absolutely. And she's more than welcome to be on the show if she likes.
Oh, great. I'll tell her about it then. Excellent. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Now, but with everything that you accomplished, do you think your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, do those dictate if people should work with you? Or is it about if you're very talented? A lot of people say it's your Facebook numbers, it's your Instagram numbers. So does these really dictate if people should work with you, or is it just hit and miss?
I think that, I think that when people talk about how many Facebook followers and Twitter followers you have, I don't think they're talking about like people like me who work in regional theater. I think they're talking about pop stars. And, I think they're talking about people that have like, 150,000 followers on Twitter or more, as opposed to somebody who has 50,000.
Yeah.
And, I know that, they say that for casting purposes and stuff that people will look at that. But I've found that, who casts me? The people who want to cast me. I have never not been cast because I don't have high enough numbers. And I don't think that I've ever missed out on something because my numbers weren't high. And I'm barely on Twitter. I'm mostly on Facebook and Instagram. You know, I'm on Twitter for politics more than anything else. Not really for theater.
No, absolutely. And speaking of politics, you talked about tools before. Well, we do have one in the Lighthouse. And but this November, go out and vote or do the mail-in voting because we really need a change.
Oh yeah.
For personally, I don't really do politics, but anyone, it's better than what we have right now. So I'm going to vote for Joe Biden.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Yes, of course. And I think that it's so important to vote. It's important to vote in November. It's important to vote for who you would want to have as president. But it's even more important to vote in your local politics because those people have an impact, an immediate impact on your life and your community. And any of the issues that you really feel passionate about, if you start at the local level, it's very empowering. You can really make change happen. So yes, I am all about get out and vote the whole ticket. Vote, find out who the judges are, find out who's running for council. All these local positions actually can really have a great impact on your life. And so you should, I think that a person who's going to go vote should take a look at those people and think about who they are and what they're going to do and give it as much weight as a vote for the president.
No, absolutely. Now it's the last 6 minutes and counting. I'm going to pass the show over to you. Was there anything you want to know? Anything you want to talk about? This is your time.
Oh my goodness. Well, we talked about COVID. We talked about theater. Those are the two things that have been on my mind a lot. And I think that that Black Lives Matter movement. I just feel so empowered to be an ally, to be quiet and listen and learn. And I think that's really, really important for people to do now. There's a time to speak up, and then there's a time to just step back and listen. And I think that for myself as a white woman, it's time for me to step back and listen and support. What can I do to support? What can I do to be an ally, a real ally, and not a. I just think that we have finally reached the tipping point on this, and that all these issues haven't been addressed before now is insane. It's absolutely insane. And that everyone is woke, or whatever term you want to use. But people are out now. They're out in the streets. And better yet, now, as the numbers of people who are out in the street decline, the number of people who are on the phone has gone up. And that's important. The number of people registering to vote, that's gone up, and that's important. So taking it from the street into action, defunding of the Los Angeles Police Department, defunding of the New York City Police Department, and put into other social programs that are going to support communities in need, is something that should have been done so long ago, and that it's actually happening now. And it's really, really thrilling.
No, I agree with you 100%. But personally, I do support the NYPD. Now, but with that being said, there are a lot of people who like to hide behind the badge because they're mostly cowards. But it's kind of like in every race, it's 50-50. There's some white people are really nice, and there's some that are just garbage. And, and you have to look at everything 50-50. You got to have the good alongst the bad, but there will always be that balance. You always have to keep the balance there. Now, I'm not trying to make excuses for assholes, but I'm just saying that there are certain people that would try to ruin things. I'll give you a perfect example. I am for protest. If you want to protest, that's fine. You can protest till you're blue in the face. But the one thing I am against is riots. And if you go back to Facebook, on certain groups, if you mention, because my account was blocked for a couple times, because I give you an example. There was a video where people are pulling other people out of cars on freeways, and I said they're discussing people. I got my account blocked for like 24 hours. Like, well, if someone pulled me out of my car, I have the right to defend myself, number one. And number two, you see these stupid videos online. It doesn't even have to do with protesting. They just be the worst things possible.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like, yes, they tell you have freedom of speech, but at the same time, if you're using a website, you're kind of limited to what you can and cannot say. But yes, I am for protesting. I hate people who riot. There's absolutely no reason to riot. I'll give you an example. There's this, people who are rioting that break into a Target and steal like a 65-inch TV. What the hell does that have to do with the way you're protesting? I mean, yeah, I need a 65-inch TV. Who wouldn't? But it kind of demonizes what you're supposed to stand for.
Mm-hmm. Well, when a lot of people are in one place, you know what? Actually, I don't feel like I should be speaking to that, because I just don't think that I should. However, I do want to say that one of the things about defunding the police is this is not about taking power away from the police. Anything like that. It is about having the police be able to do the things that only the police should do, which is go to crime scenes, all of the things that a policeman should do, and all of the things that they shouldn't be doing when people call 911 because that there is someone who's had a mental breakdown and that is running down the street naked. This is one of the things that I'm talking about defunding the police. When people hear about defunding the police, they think, oh my God, that means they're going to cut the force in half and they're going to take their guns away. There's going to be rioting and there's going to be mayhem. And that's not what it is. It is to more appropriately use the money in a way that serves the community better. And a lot of the police are saying, yes, we don't want to go out on these calls. Those calls would more appropriately be handled by a different agency than the police. And I think that that's a very important thing for people to realize because a lot of people hear defund the police and they stop and they just go, no, we can't do that, without actually listening and reading about what that means. So
I agree with you 100%. And I wasn't trying to argue with you or anything.
No, I know. That's one of my things about. I think that I'm here to listen. I'm here to listen and support. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Now I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but wrapping up our interview segment. When I approached you to be a guest on the show for the third time, what was your honest opinion? What made you say yes, and how do you feel now? But how can people also follow you on social media? You mentioned you're on Facebook and Instagram. Mm-hmm. Was there anything else that you use?
I'm also on Twitter, Julia Bro. I'm at Julia Bro on Twitter, Brothers Julia on Instagram, and Julia Brothers on Facebook. I am so happy to be here for a third time. I am very happy to support you in the thing that you love to do, that you do so well, and that is get people from all different walks of life on your show to interview them and take a look at what the world looks like out their window. And I think you do an excellent job of it. And it's so fun now to be back a third time after so much time has passed since the first time that we met. And the world is a different place, and we've changed, and so has our conversation, and it's wonderful. And I was thrilled. I was thrilled when you asked me to come back. I was very happy.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to part 4 down the road.
Yes.
Now, I do have a couple questions, but wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, and keep in touch.